Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsessions
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, it's Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Dork Forest. It's the intro. This is where the credits and our monthly sponsor is mentioned. He's a good egg. It's Car D'Angelo over at Earth 2 Comics is sponsoring the Dork Forest this month. Earth 2 Comics is in Sherman Oaks. It's also in Northridge, California. And if you go into either one of those stores and you mention that you are a ranger of the Dork Forest, you will get 10% off your purchases. Very exciting. I love Earth 2. Very, very supportive staff. They can help you find stuff. If you don't know what to get, you can sort of describe the kind of things that you like to read. And I don't know, if you go to the Sherman Oaks one, they might even tell you what Maya and Andy's pull list is. And then you can know more than you need to know about what kind of comic books to get. But Earth 2, super friendly staff, and they have everything. And if they don't have something in one store, they will send away to the other store and hook you up. And I recommend that you all go there, and I recommend that you mention the Dork Forest, because then you get 10% off. There's the ad. In other news, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com, AllThingsComedy.com is the podcast network that the Dork Forest is on, and there's a lot of great podcasts over there. If you're looking for more pods, there you go. My stand-up and live Dork Forests are on JackieCation.com. There's a chance to buy merch. There's a chance to go to the Amazon banner and buy whatever you want from Amazon, and I get a kickback. The Dork Forest gets kickback. And other than that, there's t-shirts and CDs and the calendar. Oh, and the donation button, of course. Everyone should give me $100 a year. Do what you can. If you have to give it to me in $4 increments, you're going to have to do the math, because I don't know how to set that up. I've asked Mark Maron. He's told me twice. I still haven't done it. Anyway, let's get into the show. It's a good one.
Okay.
Hey, it's Jackie Cation, sitting in my living room with perennial favorite here at the Dork Forest, here to creep me out in October. Hello, Michelle McNamara.
Hello.
Hello, Michelle McNamara. Wow. Will I fix that in post? Probably not. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, it was exciting. You're having a candy corn. I feel proud of myself that I've even found candy corns, because I only have like 10. Okay, so there's crime. Always with the crime.
Always. I'm never going to be out of subject matter. You know that.
I know it. And they really like it. They really want you to, us all to be terrified. I've decided if I'm killed by evil, I want it at the very least to be a surprise.
Oh, uh-huh. Okay.
I'm going to go through my life just going, oh.
Do you want to not know the last face you see before you die?
Oh, weird. No,
because I have a joke in my house when I'll often say to Patton, oh, his will be the last face I'll see before I die. Meaning that guy is going to kill me. And that's like, like, what are you, I was thinking about this driving over here.
Yeah.
What are you, Jackie Cation, most afraid of?
Oh, my greatest fear, I suppose, that I'm going to, just break it all. That I'm just going to, quite honestly, that I'm just going to give up. But there's part of me that's drawn to it, you know? Like, don't you want to someday move to Arkansas and crawl into a bottle and call it? Nope. No one else does want to do that. Just me.
No, I have thought when I was postpartum depression, I often thought I could run away to Barstow, become a heroin addict.
Oh, yeah.
And no one would know.
No one or care or think to look of you, because no one thinks to look for.
But when I
told
my therapist, he nodded. He had heard versions of that story elsewhere,
and he probably saw it in you. Have you ever tried heroin?
No. But it sounds like a just solid, lonely good time, which is.
I'm not a fan of needles.
No, I think you can snort it, right?
Oh, really? Oh, is that it?
That's what the kids tell me. I don't know. Oh my God.
It would have to be. Yeah, I don't ever see myself as. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to be. Sometimes I think about being killed by a murderer, and I always see myself talking them out of it.
Okay. I absolutely I concur. You would absolutely talk them out of it. I would even, they would chuckle. I would think that you would make them laugh. Here's what here's my fear is that, and this is what I was wondering if you have this too. I feel like we hear so much in the news about these random mass spree killings. That's what I fear, is that I'm in the target and someone loses their shit
And just comes in.
and comes at me. I'm in their crosshair.
Yeah.
It's just.
You don't think that's a Wanda Sykes movie? Because where she sort of just brings it with all the plastic shit from Target, she stops it in a Home Alone kind of fashion.
Well, that would be nice. But I still am always. I feel like I do have that kind of looking over my shoulder for the lone weirdo.
But you remember the lady at the school who talked the guy down?
I don't.
There was a guy in. Of course, we all heard about the people who were successfully murdering of children and peoples. The woman who there was a gunman who walked into
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. This was more recently.
Yeah,
right.
very recently, probably 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Yes.
And she was like, hey, this isn't going to solve anything. Think this through briefly. What's going to happen at the end of you shooting a bunch of innocent people? And he was like, yeah, it's really not going to pay my bills. It's really not going to make anything better. And she talked him down.
Was he a student or an adult?
He was an adult.
Oh.
Yeah. And he was just a guy who freaked out. And he was like, I've had it. I'm just good. This is how I'm going out. It's suicide by cop is what it is, I think. And is what it feels like. And that's always my glamorous thought is that, that's my heroism.
Oh, is it you'll be like the catcher in the rye?
Yeah. I'll fix it. I have a bit of a fix it. I always want to be able to fix the problem.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
We would be good matches as friends because I am frequently the problem. So as the fixer, I would be welcoming of that.
Right. That I had some sort of solution.
Whenever someone tells me like they're a rescuer type, I'm so not. I'm always like, interesting. I think we will.
What are you doing Thursday? And is there a way that you could hear me talk it out? And that'd be awesome. The thing is I want to fix everything. And I was thinking about this the other day is that, when you meet a guy who you're like, oh, that guy's broken. And, I always run. I'm like, oh, I can't fix that guy. I usually can't fix a guy it's always a guy who's vaguely aware that he's broken, but is aggressively denying it.
And is angry.
And is super angry about it.
Anger freaks me out too. I can't.
Right. I'm not good if you're really mad. And if you're aggressively, like the guy that's aggressively hitting on me, that is, the vibe you get is, and this is, it's like hen's teeth. It's very rare, is that he's going to prove to me that he's a rapist is what he is.
and this will go there eventually.
Right. I can't fix the rapist, it turns out. There are some guy comics who I don't hang out with that are like, they got Napoleon problems. They got issues. Have you ever heard of a guy named Adam Richmond?
No.
Wiggly, shouty Canadian dude.
No.
Who got arrested for attacking a waitress.
Okay.
End of August. Yeah. And, supposedly she brought him back to her apartment.
Oh my gosh.
And then the neighbors called 911 because of the crying and the pushing.
Oh my God. And were you aware of him previous to this?
I had never, I accidentally looked at his website. I was in Minneapolis the week after it happened and the MC was like, yeah, that guy's a mess. He kept saying, because he was playing the Mall of America Comedy Club. And the guy that was emceeing is like 20. And he said, this Adam Richmond guy is 39. And Taylor said, he kept saying to me, man, where are the chicks? Where are the chicks? And I was like, the chicks in the Mall of America are 14.
Right.
I will not be your wingman. That will not happen. And then the guy who emceed the week after, this guy, Nate, I was there the week after he got arrested, $100,000 bail.
Wow.
Headlining the Improv 2 weeks later. So nobody knows about this guy.
Yeah.
So, but the guy who worked the week after said he went into work and the club manager was like, hey, be extra nice to the waitstaff this week. They're a little twitchy. Really? Really after the attempted rape? Well, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, but I can't fix that guy. I mean, I don't think that I'll be killed, raped and killed. I don't see that happening. I live a little defensively. Not a lot. I don't run through the streets naked with money taped to my ass screaming, what's going to happen?
I look at that as the upside of aging is that I am no longer. I'm like
Right.
I've aged and
You've aged out of the
enjoyed my
harassment?
food out of that.
Right. I've aged out of the harassment level.
Right.
That's hilarious.
I'm not batting them away too much. Yeah.
Right. It'll be fine. There's still a homeless guy on Skid Row who's like, "Hey, baby, you got a boyfriend?" I'm like,
yeah.
Seriously, sir.
Right.
I was not far from my own home, and it was a beautiful summer day here in Los Angeles, and my passenger side window was down, and a man so drunk he was soaking wet.
Oh God.
And he walks up to the passenger side door, and he leans in. He's like, "You got $1?" And I said, I do not have $1. And so he backed up back onto the curb, and he just sort of stood there, and he's seriously weaving. And not a bad looking gentleman, were he not filthy. And I mean, he was
Right.
a normal looking enough, super drunk dude. But he wanders back up to the thing and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing later?"
I was hoping that his next question was going to be, do you have $1? No. Do you have a boyfriend?
Oh, that would have been catchy. But he hit on me after he had asked for the $1, which I
Yeah.
thought, gutsy stuff, brother.
Yeah.
Mr. Man,
You're stripped down to just,
you have no sense of, no, this might not work. What the heck? It's a numbers game, right? And, okay. So murder.
Murder, okay.
I accidentally saw an ad for something called Cold Justice.
okay.
I don't want any part of it.
Okay. Cause it's cold.
You love Cold Justice.
Well,
You want there to be.
here's what I love, Jackie. Here's what I love. I love women of a certain age
okay.
being sent out into the world to solve cold cases. And that is what cold justice
is it?
It's two women
In their 40s?
again of a certain age. I'm not going to say because I don't know.
They could be in their 20s.
They
You don't
could
know.
be- no.
No.
I will put my foot down that they're not that.
Okay.
They may
okay.
have some wrinkles that are 20, but
Right.
they don't. They are not in their 20s.
Okay.
But they are sent to these small towns, and I think it's the upside of crime, which I know can be creepy and morbid, and there's a little bit of a lurid. This to me is more inspiring. This is
Okay.
people going to small towns. These two women. One was I believe, a former CSI. One was former prosecutor. They go and help out small towns that don't have the resources to solve their cold cases.
Okay. So it's a
it's nice.
reality show.
Oh, it's a reality show. Yes.
And they're supposed to genuinely solve some cases,
Yes, and they
or at least
have.
give some leads.
Yeah.
They've found the bad guy.
Well, it's always a couple. The one that I saw was they had a really good suspect.
Okay.
And they just weren't able to close the deal.
Okay.
So to speak.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that they did for that one. The way I know this is because the company that makes the show
Right.
had a meeting with me because the show is doing well. And
Because
so
truecrimediary.com is your website, and you actually have come up with new leads for old cases, mostly the Irons thing, right?
Yes. And I think when people think women of a certain age who are obsessed with murder, they Google that and my face appears. And so I had this meeting, and this guy goes, this young kid goes, "We would love to pair you with an older detective." Now you realize I have a lifelong obsession with Jerry Orbach, who played Detective Lenny Briscoe.
Right. And the dad in Dirty Dancing.
Yes.
Anyway,
he
so-
framed picture of Jerry Orbach, signed by Jerry Orbach, in my office.
Really?
My muse over my desk.
There it
Anyway,
is.
so this guy says, we want to pair you with an older detective and have you go to solve cold cases. I said, "Do you enter my dreams?" That would be amazing. I can't because I'm writing this book about Irans.
Oh, that's right.
But
So you had to turn it down?
yeah, well, this is very early stage talk stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. They, but I said, once I'm done with the book, I would love to pursue it.
Right, because this Cold Justice thing you said is going very well.
It's going well. And they have a guy on the Cold Justice, who is this kind of the cop that never stops. And he's become a little bit of a character, I guess.
Okay.
And they want to spin off with him. So it would have been, I think, matched up with him.
Okay.
I, of course, came with my own detective in mind.
Okay. Sure, you got a guy.
So I had a guy. I said, "You call my guy."
Right.
He's not a flashy TV guy, but he's a heck of an investigator.
He's right. This guy's got chops.
Yeah.
Where's is he out of
closer.
Barstow?
He's not out of Barstow, but Pomona.
Oh, Pomona. Okay.
But we
sure.
could. I'd
That's
love
where
to pal around with him. And
Yeah. It's nice if you would have a connection with him. I mean, the guy who's already a star on the Weird Other show might be, and he might be the nicest guy in the world and work just fine, but it would be nice to get two people who nobody's the star yet.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. But Cold Justice. Yeah, that's Cold Justice.
That's Cold Justice. And is it all so far West Coast? I haven't seen it.
No, I think they go all over.
Okay.
I think they go all
They'll
over.
go wherever.
I mean, it's on
they're
my
needed.
I feel bad because I have 5 TiVo'd. I just haven't had the time to sit down and watch them.
Oh,
But I
right.
do intend to watch them.
Hey, what do you think? Do you know what I saw? I also saw an ad for that, and then I saw an ad for a horrifying cooking show where you learn how to cook for your dog.
What?
Yeah, I think it's called Marie Antoinette. I was like, I want to hurt myself. This is not okay.
They hate us for our freedom.
Why? Yeah, that's why they hate us. It's our freedom to give
And our
better
dog
food
cooking shows.
to our dogs than we would to the
And
guy.
our electric scissors.
Electric. But Ed Begley Jr., he bicycles to make the electric scissors work. So, yeah, so that, I mean, you haven't seen that show, have you?
No.
Okay.
Oh my God, no.
All right.
No.
Well, then that's fine. So, okay. So is there new crime? Is there always new crime
Well,
that
there
you're
is-
looking into?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything, I mean, I haven't been so much into the crimes that are hitting the news lately just because I'm so still deeply involved in the Irans thing.
Right. Cause you got a book deal. So you have to solve that case.
Right.
Is what I'm hearing.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay. So like the other day, last week, I went down to Orange County to have lunch with this, detective who
Okay.
works for the Orange County District Attorney's Office. And he had worked back in the day on one of the Iran's murder cases.
Oh.
And this is just, I had this lunch with him and I was driving home and I was thinking, this is why I love, there's a term called badge bunny,
Badge bunny. Oh, is it
possibly pejorative.
okay. Might be a groupie kind of sitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Possibly has been said about me by men with badges. But I'm not saying I'm a badge bunny, but I admire, this is just a little takeaway I took from this lunch. And this is why I love you. This guy, very low key, but he's just like one of those people who just radiates smart, you know?
Okay.
And he just like in passing tells me this story about how he knew, because one of the victim's husbands had been a suspect for a while. And he just sort of in passing said, well, I knew he was innocent when I saw the guy was in the hospital at the time that she was died, and they thought maybe he left the hospital and killed her. I knew he was innocent when I saw the call logs. And then he went on to say something else. I said, wait, let's go back. What do you mean the call logs? And he said, well, he called her and he let it ring 4 times and then he hung up and then he called her back and he let it ring 20 times. And I knew he was innocent. And I said, how? And he said, because they had an answering machine and it picked up after 3 rings. Mm-hmm. You put yourself in that guy's shoes. You're a man, an innocent man calling his wife. You let it ring 4 times. You think you misdialed. You hang up.
Yeah.
You pick up again. You know you've got the right number now. You let it ring 20 times. He goes, a guilty person would never think of that. They would never think of the small behavioral things like that. And I said, a
Wow.
guilty person wouldn't, and neither would I. That is why you, Mr. Man,
Holy
are
smokes.
I mean,
I got
was
kind of
like-
chills on that because I think that feels right.
it's so right. But and he's like, I knew he couldn't have made it up.
Right.
It was so great.
Well, and now the weird thing is do they know that he did it because he said he let it ring like 20 times?
Well, it
or-
was because it was the hospital. I guess because he had to press. He was at the hospital when he was trying to reach her, and she'd already been murdered.
Okay.
So it was like he was saying, if he was guilty and trying to create like an alibi, I called my wife. They knew somehow the hospital knew how many times he had let it ring.
right
You could
because
tell.
you would think the digital would count it or something.
I mean, and this was back in this was
Analog
81.
days?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, well that's
But it's just things like that. And just, he had so many little low key moments where he just kind of said something that completely, I reconsidered my previous notions about something. And just things like, for instance, there were all these peripheral characters that I was interested in. You know, maybe it was the guy she met at the pool that her friend said were kind of predatory and checking her out and had talked to her. He said, no. This guy was, you think he's going to, have 60 victims in the last couple. He's going to screw up enough to get close enough to them that someone's going to remember. And
Right.
it was such a good point.
Yeah.
But one that I had never thought of. He's like, no. He's never going to
He's not gonna
be
make that
visibly
mistake.
connected to them.
Okay.
He may have seen her at her pizza parlor where she worked or something. He did not engage to the point where she may have mentioned it to someone else.
Wow.
He's not going to screw up like that.
he's just a weird predator is what he is. He's a
Yeah.
genuine 60 people?
Yeah.
60. Mm-hmm. And he's never been caught.
No. Well, 50 of those are alive. He was a rapist first.
Oh. And he's raped 50 people that are still alive?
Mm-hmm. And then killed 10 people. And that's conservative. That's conservative. There's other.
At the very least.
At the very least. And no, they have his DNA and they're.
And they got nothing.
No, they do. They have something.
Okay.
They're getting close.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think. In my opinion, I think it's,
that gentleman is now 67 years old.
I have a little bit of conflict
replaced.
saying that because part of me doesn't want it. I'm writing this book, so there's a real time pursuit issue with me where I'm like, hey, let's
don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Well, no, but also let's make sure it's him as I'm typing away, because let's not put the cuffs on him until the cover photo is done.
Right. Let's ruin this guy's life. Not. Let's make sure he's guilty.
Let's just really make sure, and then. God, wouldn't the timing be really great if it came out, right?
Yeah, that'd be 18 months from now. It turns out the reveal. And whoopah! It's like the Venus de Milo. I'm going to take this off. Yeah, that would be good. It's, I don't know. It's so.
But he's okay. So I'm trying to think of other ones that have been in the news lately. But people like. Oh, did you hear about the 2 cars that were found at the bottom of the pond? It's like in Mississippi or Kentucky.
Yeah.
So it was like just they were dragging the lake, and all of a sudden they found 2 cars with 6 bodies. Basically, one car had 3 bodies, 7 people maybe. One car had 3 bodies and one had 4. So immediately, this is huge news, and it's all over the news and stuff. But right away, I was like, at night they drove into the lake. It's not going to end up being a murder. I know that
people want it to be.
Yeah,
some sort of somebody saved up these 7 bodies and then buried them.
They kept calling it in the media. It annoyed me because they kept saying, "Could a cold case be solved?" And it was like a cold case because they were missing people.
Yeah,
but they were drunk teenagers who drove in the lake at night,
right?
Off a boat ramp or something. It wasn't murder.
It's just sad. 17-year-olds who weren't thinking.
Right.
And wow. But at least they're not disappeared anymore.
No, now they know what happened to them. Yeah.
Because there's always the disappeared.
Yeah.
Because the disappeared is everyone always assumes that it's an elaborate plan when it's more than likely someone just ran away and then is a stripper somewhere in Albuquerque.
You think so? You think they're often still alive?
Sometimes I think, cause like one of my brothers, we didn't talk to him for years. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no, I don't want to talk to you guys.
Oh, okay.
And
I see. Right.
And you're like, well, I hope he's okay.
Right.
And it turns out he was fine.
Right.
He was getting his shit together and living his own life. And he just didn't need the distraction of 5 siblings and 2 parents that were minimally interested in his life.
Okay.
Or any of us.
I see.
Yeah. So I do think that people just sort of weed off and are like,
yeah,
I'll see you in 10 years. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or never.
But then, it's just one of those, the mystery of it is so haunting.
It is pretty fascinating though. Cause you're just like, we would talk about him. My stepmother was the dumbest because I think I told you this before. when Jeffrey Dahmer was arrested, they didn't release his name and she called me and she was like, do you think it's Scott? And I was like, no, I don't. I think Scott could be a dick, but I don't think Scott's a murderer.
Do you think it's Scott? I'm sorry that just the idea that Scott is such a normal name. Just do you think it's Scott?
Do you think it's Scott? I don't think it's Scott. I think
we had a relative that we were convinced was the Unabomber.
Oh, right.
And he was it. I mean,
and
everyone
it was his brother, right? Wasn't it his brother who narked on him?
Right. It was his brother who narked on him. It wasn't our relative. Although
everyone has a relative. They're like, I bet you it's, you know who it is? It's Jimmy. Because Jimmy's a piece of work, right? And you're like, no, Jimmy's just,
right.
He's just a guy. He's just quiet.
He just doesn't talk constantly like you.
Right.
But there was, speaking of people who just disappear, that just reminded me, there was a news story like in the last 6 months of a woman who mysteriously vanished and everyone was like, she absolutely would never have left her kids. I mean, it was like 2 kids,
right?
All this kind of stuff. And it was like something like 25 years or something. And she just got busted down in Florida or so. Basically, long story short, she had just burned her life to the ground, went to Florida, took a bus to Florida, got into the hard life.
Yeah.
And then just reappeared and was like, oh shit, sorry. Can you imagine? So and I think it was even like more elaborate than that. Like I think that the husband had been suspected, he had to live under this. Yeah. So.
Oh no. So
she was shockingly not welcomed with open arms by her family. The news of her breathing existence was not occasion for joy. No. But I kind of wonder, like, they can't arrest her with anything.
Right, because she didn't do anything except for go out for cigarettes and not come back.
And be a shitty mom.
Yeah, she's like, it's abandonment, and she might owe some back child support.
This goes back to the Barstow heroin addict. Yeah. She just followed through on the plan we've all thought of occasionally.
We're just like, I'm getting in my car, I'm going.
Got vomit on your hands. You're like, haven't left the house in 3 days. You're just like, this is not what I signed up for.
This is not good. And my buddy Joe Wilson used to do a joke about how whenever like a parent would kill all their kids, he would always go, whatever happened to I'm going out for cigarettes and never coming back?
That's a good point.
Right. Yeah. Don't kill your family. Just leave.
Right.
And that everyone will be mad, but they won't be dead.
Yeah. Oh God.
So when you think about that, they could have been, I spend a good portion of my time forgiving everyone in my family for bad life choices, going, oh yeah, you're not good at this. Okay, well, but you seem nice enough.
You try to look at the silver lining.
I'm a big silver lining person, because if I don't, it would be, someone was telling me that, because I read for this voiceover thing, and they were like, well, you aren't mean enough. And I said, oh, I can be. I work 9 out of every 10 hours working very hard not to be. And the 10th hour, I'm very nice. And
right.
So it could be, I don't know. I weed off. What I like to do is I like to have people over and then tell them stories about me for an hour. Really? Interesting. Welcome to my podcast. What else?
Oh, okay. Well, so can I tell you my funny Twitter story? Because it involves you, so you like it. Well, no, it's not even.
Yes. Kidding. No, totally.
It's not even that funny of a story. You'll just think it's funny. So I stupidly signed up for this thing that tells me who no longer follows me. Oh. And you stopped following.
Oh,
just listen to the whole story. So you stop following me. So Patton, my husband, is in his office, and I this is occasion for me to walk out of our house into his office, open the door. So it's like a 5-minute walk. I go, Jackie Cation, stop following me on Twitter. What did I do to Jackie Cation? He was like, Michelle, I'm sure it was just, I was like, he goes, do you want me to email her and ask her? And I go, well, no, now I feel that's embarrassing. And then, okay, for 24 hours,
I have an answer, by the way.
I know what it is. Mm-hmm. I thought and burned about this, and then I let it go. And then I saw that you said something like you stop following people who don't tweet that much.
Yes.
So I felt better. I clung to that. And it better be that. Because I was like, I looked back through I spent minutes looking back through my
Because you signed up for a thing that tells you who unfollows you.
Yes.
I signed up for a thing that tells me who's not tweeting a lot, so I can just not follow them.
I didn't know that was a possibility.
That's a thing too. And you're just like, well.
Oh, so it just automatically stops.
Unfollowed 1,000 people.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh shit. Because a couple of people were like, hey, what did I do? Because a couple people did say.
Okay.
And so I said, hey, if I unfollowed you and you noticed, say something and I will refollow you.
That's what I think I saw.
Yeah.
But why, what I don't understand it, why do you care so much about tweeting pace? I'm married to someone who tweets frantically. That's why I ask. Because to me, I like
I have over 33,000 tweets.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Chatty Magoo over here is with the barit constantly tweeting.
But like the other people, you like that pace? You like that in other people too?
I don't know what I like. All I know is that I'm not supposed to, here's the social usage of the business social. I'm supposed to be cool. So I'm supposed to follow 400 maximum people.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I like to follow people who follow me because they're following me. And I'm like, well, what are you like? So I start following everyone who follows me. And then I'm following 5,000 people. And then I have to make lists. And then.
Well, where did you get that number 400? Is that like a thing that people know about?
That is an arbitrary number that I came up with when I look at famous people and I see how many people they're following. Mm-hmm. And what people are mostly doing, it's sort of like my Facebook page where people usually follow the people they know. And then a couple of famous people that they're like, well, what is Bob Newhart saying today?
Right.
So, and that's it. And so I was following like 200 people and they were all people I knew, comics and whatever. And then a couple of famous people that I found interesting and God. I follow the tweet of God because it made me laugh, and Batman, and also known as God. No, so I was following those two, and then a bunch of people I knew, and then I got on this thing where it'll automatically. It's called Tweet Adder.
Oh, okay.
And it's a thing where you can add and you can delete. And I stopped using it a couple of months ago because it started getting weird. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna tweet. And I'm just gonna let it happen naturally, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because you're supposed to it's this whole, like, if I had 1 million followers, someone at NBC might call me up and go, here's a bag of Scrooge McDuck money. And,
right.
So, but I was like, I cared about it for like a month, and then I stopped.
But see, no, now I'm glad to hear this. I didn't even know there was this possibility. So now there's certain other people who like stopped following me that maybe that was it. Because
yeah. I love that you walked out of the house.
I was like in a state. I really was like, what could I have said? What? Look at this.
Did I do something? Did you?
It's unimpeachable what I said. I did not tweet anything offensive.
I am never offensive. I might have creeped her out. No, but I didn't. And, no, totally not.
Okay.
You're good. It's,
okay.
Yeah. So, you're on Twitter. What is your Twitter handle if people want to know about spooky, cold cases?
At True Crime Diary.
At True Crime Diary.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And truecrimediary.com is the blog, which is, has, in-depth, information.
Yes. Lately has not been so on top of things because I am doing this other thing. But my husband is posting something to my blog, in the next 24 hours because I begged him to. And
let's tell Patton Oswalt is your husband.
Yes. And he would describe me as a taskmaster right now because we just had a conversation in which he said, I will give you something Monday at 4. He had told me it would be Friday at 4. I said, you're dead to me. And you will absolutely not. Monday at 4 is ridiculous.
Right.
It will be, you get an extension of a couple hours.
Right.
So you will see
something out.
He will be there tonight.
And how many words does it have to be?
That I didn't. Oh, good gosh! Now, if he was really tricky, he'd do something like a paragraph. But I don't think he will.
No,
but he knows what the
people
usual
who
length
want
is.
me to write for their thing, and they email me regularly, and 500 words. That's it.
That's like 2 pages.
Nobody's gonna read more than that anyway.
Hey, Jackie, I'm writing a book. Don't say that. But you're just
when I have a
describing my
hard
biggest
copy.
fear.
Your biggest fear.
I cannot tell you how many people I've met who are like, you're writing a book? Gosh, I remember reading those. I'm like, no. Whoa, what?
No. You have to read my book.
Please read past the first. They're like, gosh, how could you write that?
Is Patton going to do punch up on your book? That'd be so funny. He's like, it's not funny enough over here. And so you got to punch this up.
The tone is like the tone in our house, not to mention in the book, is hard to get across because it's awkward. Comedy and crime is very awkward. I've told you there's been times like, Patton will have a bunch of stand-ups over and everyone's like laughing. And then there'll be this moment. He's like, tell him about your killer. I'm like, that's Patton, come on.
Why I got to bring everybody down by talking about the guy?
Like, it's a little awkward.
It's a little. Oh, except for then the riffing begins because I'm sure Blanket Patch is there, and that guy is he is a monkey.
He is a riffer
with just the whipping. I just saw him the other day, and every time I see Blanket Patch, I am happier.
Yeah, it
makes my day a little bit better.
But yeah, the comedy and crime. Patton is going to be on an episode of Jerry Seinfeld with Cars or something.
Where were the driving in cars with coffee or something?
So he came to our house 2 days ago, yesterday, 2 days ago,
neat.
in a DeLorean and picked up Patton. But the reason I tell this story is that this is
an 82 DeLorean.
I don't know what. All I know is that he had like, should they call it like a pit crew? He had like a pit crew with him. That like, because I only saw it, so I didn't know this was happening. Patton comes in the house. He goes, Jerry Seinfeld just dropped me off in a DeLorean. And I started laughing like, oh, shut up. And he's like, no, he's out there. And indeed, there was a DeLorean right in front of our house being worked on with this pit crew and Jerry and about 6 other people. So I walk out briskly and I go up and I go, hi, I'm Patton's wife. And Patton, I think, is watching this thinking she wants to meet Jerry Seinfeld. And I go, I don't mean to be rude. Absolutely no part of our house can be shown on this TV show. Because I'm thinking, I'm writing about an at-large serial killer. That's all I'm thinking about.
Right.
I'm like, hello, Jerry Seinfeld. Do not show my house.
Right. I'm sure you're very nice.
But I can't. And they were like, oh, okay.
We've had this come. And the thing is what I understand is that you've stepped up security around your house.
Yes, we do have good level.
Spikes just come out now? It'd be so great if just like spikes, like a porcupine, it just went doink.
No, but I did. Did I tell you about the? So I had this meeting once, where I described like basically like we had Mossad level like security at our house, and this producer's like, "Oh, you use Avi?" And I thought, I go, no. And then I moved on to something else. And then I thought, wait, what?
Is there
and I go, Avi is a guy? And he was like, well, yeah. And I go, do you have an Israeli soldier at your house? And he was like, wouldn't answer. And he was like, anyway. And I'm like, oh my God, there are people who have ex-Israeli soldiers just patrolling their grounds. Of course they do, because they have gazillion dollars.
Right. Los Angeles is full of just diamonds. Just people dropping in front of their dogs and in front of their Israeli soldiers.
Falling out of their pockets.
Falling just.
I mean, do you use Avi? I was like, what? I was like, it's just a turn of phrase.
It's a turn of phrase.
I meant I have security, a couple bad security cameras.
I've seen NCIS. I'm referencing the NCIS. Mossad connection. Wow.
Yeah, but we do have security cameras.
So is it Halliburton? Is that who you've hired?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like 6-man teams constantly going around your like 2,000 square foot house. It'd be so funny.
No, just a burglar alarm is enough for me.
Yeah,
I'll wake up. You know,
I want to be alerted if I'm about to die.
Yeah,
I think we have Andy Ashcraft will. If someone comes to sell something at the door, he will buy it.
Oh, really?
So we have a security.
Okay. But then also that takes like, aren't you giving information to people and stuff like that?
Just loose people in Van Nuys who come up to you at the door and they're like, hey, do you want a
stale cookie?
Yeah.
I was just thinking, could I have a stale cookie from a stranger?
I was like, can I just give you $5 and you not give me this cookie? Go.
I know, right? I feel like that too. It's such an awkward conversation with those magazines. That's how I feel like, please don't send me your magazine. Here's $20. I've said that. I've said, I really don't want a magazine. Yeah. Here's money. But they don't give you that option sometimes.
Nope. Well, our neighbor passed away and she willed to us in her last moments.
Oh no.
Her newspaper. So we've been receiving the LA Times and Andy has canceled it no less than 4 times.
Oh yeah. They're the stalker.
They need the number.
Go away.
They need the numbers. And,
she actually put that down on paper?
No, she told her son. She was a very nice older lady and she was super sweet. And she was like, give it to Jackie and Andy.
They need the paper. Nice. What, did she have a lifelong subscription?
She can come over and get her grapefruit too. And she had a lifelong.
Yeah.
Has the best yard in the neighborhood, still worked out just because. And then her children are really sweet. Oh. Anyway, but we don't want the paper. Yeah. Is what I'm trying to say. No,
I know.
We have an iguana. We would like some papers, but we can get papers for free. It turns out, or just buy an occasional New York Times or something.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, we have weeded off from true crime.
Well, not really. People are coming to the door.
People are coming to the door. Yeah. So Jerry Seinfeld, you can't, there's no way. You have to have security if you're going to be looking into this stuff.
Yeah.
Because you come up with new theories, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, the thing I always say, and it is true, is like there's not one example of a journalist being killed by. It just doesn't happen. So it's not going to happen. But that said, there's enough bad things in my mind that
there's no reason not to live a little defensively if you can.
Right. And I just don't want Jerry Seinfeld putting my house on his TV show.
Yeah, that's completely
or whatever
silly.
His web series, whatever it is. I'm sure he's a nice man. The DeLorean.
Why did he have a pit crew with him? Was he Kanye West? What's happening with the entourage? It's okay. Silence. But fair enough.
It's not mime facing. Mime face.
Right. But do you know if it was a gull winged? Did it have weird doors that you can't park next to each other at the grocery store?
I once was asked by my insurance company if I had and this is a true story, if I had a 2 or 4 door car. I had the car for several years. I said, well, hold on a second, and walked outside. That tells you all you need to know. And I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Right. I absolutely, it's just one of those
cars
things.
Are not.
No. I knew I was looking at something different.
Right.
When I saw it. And I knew vaguely that it was like a big deal.
Right.
That was it. That's all I know.
There are things that I myself do not get a lot of my self-esteem from being lost all the time, because I get lost all the time.
Oh,
all the time. I have a GPS in my car.
Right.
And then he's like, you're not learning the city you're just staring at that tiny screen. And I was like, yeah, I don't care. I don't need to learn.
Oh, but you do use the GPS. Does it get you lost?
No. But if I don't have the GPS, I never know where I am. I never know where I am. And quite honestly, I don't care. If I have been lost, I only care when there's someone else in the car and I feel like they might be mad.
Right.
And so, cause I've been so lost, I've taken myself out to lunch. I'm like, well, as long as I'm lost, that looks like a very nice Mexican restaurant. Let's go there and have a sandwich and then get back on the road.
Right.
Cause it's not, so cars are not your thing.
No, they're just not my thing. They're really not. I mean, and I know I don't have that in common with much of America.
Right.
And I know that only because when that Dale Earnhardt or whatever his name is died, and really the country stopped. And I was like, who is that? I had absolutely no idea. And it felt like one of the most major people in our country died. And I was completely stunned. But I had no idea.
He's a NASCAR guy, right?
I didn't even recognize his name.
Yeah. He's got a son named Dale Jr.
Right. That was a big deal.
Which was a big deal. And that guy died. But I think that, here's my true crime question for you.
Okay.
Do you watch fictionalized true crime?
Oh, yeah.
Or fictionalized crime stuff?
Yes. I mean, what's funny is that I don't like book-wise, I actually don't like fiction as much as I like nonfiction. TV and movie-wise, I do like we watched, Broadchurch. Did you?
No.
Okay. That was a good series. That was
that
a
a British
series. It was very good.
I think I saw that one of them and it was super spooky.
Yeah. It was creepy. That was pretty well done.
And very well done.
Mm-hmm. The Fall with, Gillian Anderson was very good and it kind of fell apart near the end, but
that was a series?
Yes.
Okay.
And that murder was very much like You're On. So it kind of spooked me. It was like the mask going into the house, pre-planning and stuff like that. But yeah, so I do watch, I'm trying to think if there's anything, have you seen The Blacklist?
No. What's that?
I just wish more happened. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. Literally every 5 seconds, there's like an explosion, a hostage taking. It is just people. It's made for our times. Just
it's
the fragmented, like just
the Blacklist. It's a TV show, or
yes, with James Spader.
Okay,
playing Hannibal Lecter.
Oh,
basically.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's like a merging of Alias and The Silence of the Lambs, and
there was some, and it was based on a truth. I saw the trailer for it. I saw an ad for.
Yeah, it got a lot of it like tested really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard when I spend so much time talking to cops and they don't have, like, they have to ask me to like send a different file because they don't have their computer is from like 1997. That then I'm watching TV and CSI is like, call up that fingerprint on the wall.
Right.
It's it just, hey, I know everyone needs their escapes.
Right.
But for me, it's a little hard to watch that knowing that there's.
I don't have Adobe, so you can't send me a PDF.
Right. Yeah. I mean, or they'll be like PDF what? Like it gives me, yeah.
Right. I think Castle had a thing, because the crime shows that I watch are such bubblegum crap.
Yeah.
Like Bones, where Angela has a hologram machine where she can recreate the crime.
What?
Yeah.
That's
With
not a real thing, is
Yeah,
it? Like, that's in the show?
Yeah, that's in the show. She can recreate the crime on her computer, and like, it's a magic machine. It's the craziest. Andy watches it and just laughs and laughs. He's like, I don't think. But Castle had a thing in the beginning where Nathan Fillion is the Castle guy,
right?
And he's a writer, and his muse is this cop, and and so he's like, so. He made reference to the fact, he's like, well, do you guys have a database that you can connect this face recognition software? And she's like, yeah, it's a stack of file folders over there. We're going to look at them. And then we're going to look at the picture.
I'm glad they did that. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
Because
Law and Order doesn't try to, they'll occasionally do something where it's like, you could tell the writers are using some shortcuts sometimes where it's like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
Usually it's someone in a property room that's dank and they're looking through a box and things haven't been stored properly. And,
right.
Yeah.
It should be more, they should only use it if it's like a science, like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is that new Marvel TV
Patton
show.
watches that, yeah.
Yeah. And of course he does. You don't, of course.
No.
And you're not.
I walk on through.
You were not interested
well,
in
at first I was initially interested because it misled me with its title. I thought it was a crime show. And Patton said, no.
It is a crime show.
Well, but he said there's superpowers involved, and I walked out there. I said, bye-bye. You and your you're furtive nerds.
What's a furtive nerd?
Oh, the people at comic book stores are furtive nerds. They're just
furtive
nerds. They're always just furtively nerding around.
Oh, people are very outgoing now. Everybody's taking Asperger's medicine. And so
I will do so much to not be in a comic book store. There's so many things I will do to get out of having to be in a comic book store.
So you're probably not reading Brian Posehn's new Deadpool. Probably not. Okay. He's doing a very nice job. Let me just say.
Good. Well, I love Brian.
Yeah, Brian's
I just
great.
don't love the comic books.
No, you're just not interested. But the very funny thing about he did this week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was very funny only because there's a subversive line in it because they have access to Instagram and Twitter and Vine and all this stuff. And they're like, now people are surveilling themselves.
Right.
And we don't have to,
right.
But they're on TV shows. They're constantly accessing traffic cameras that have these HD cameras attached to them that they can zoom in on receipts.
Oh my God, zoom in on receipts. I love it.
How awesome.
Look at that signature from 300 feet away.
Look at, that's on the corner of, you get an address and a name of the place.
Meanwhile, I just did the sheriff's office in Northern California and it was so dark during the day. I was like, or it was kind of a dark day to begin with and there were no lights on and I said, well, why? And he said, oh, we're saving money. Like they dim the lights because they just save money. And I was like, wow, it's grim out there.
It is grim out there. Turns out it is not.
You're nowhere near hologram land. When you're saving money, you're like the motel that's not giving you any electricity.
Yeah, you're like, will Ed Begley Jr. come over and ride his bike to power our generator? Wow, that is, God dang it. So what were you up in, because tell people just because Eron's is California centric and I know about it because of the 2 previous episodes you've been on.
Yes, because of my
right. East Area
rapist,
ONS.
Original Night Stalker.
Which
is a terrible name that even the person who named him feels badly about. Because it's like a who's on first thing of, wait, original Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez? No, original, then why? It gives everyone a headache. So that's why I tried in my article, I called him the Golden State Killer. Some people thought that I was criticized. Some people thought that was a little glamorous.
It feels glamorous.
Well,
is there going to be a bear?
It's the name of our state.
It is the
name of our state. And that to me is one of his unique, he only, as far as we know, he was a California-based predator.
Well,
and that's what he had in
local pride. Let's do this.
Okay, see now, I asked some of the, I'm not going to name them.
Right.
Some of the best names in Hollywood to come up with a name for this guy.
Sure.
I got some funny ones.
Sure.
Because some of these people involved Patton's friends.
Right.
I can't think of some of them off the top of my head, but they were pretty funny. But everything sounded just like a supervillain or something. And I didn't want to give him, I didn't want him the Night Watcher. I didn't want to give him that. So I just thought, call him the Golden State Killer. Just call him Killer.
Right.
But, have to give some kind of
California dirtbag. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
One.
So
he started, so Sacramento 76, ended in Irvine 86. Those are the bookends. In between there, began as a rapist, started killing in 79, started with single women and girls, raping them, ended up killing couples.
That's right. He went into couples.
Yeah.
Wow. It feels like if he's still working, and that isn't that might be what he calls it.
Right.
He's moved on to small countries, possibly. Maybe he's,
he could be in Massachusetts. He could be in a state that doesn't have great DNA, procedure.
Does LA have, California have?
Well, yes. Ironically, because of this guy.
Okay.
Prop 69 was passed in 2004. It makes California the largest database in, center in the country, all felons. So if you get basically pulled over for DUI, you have to give your DNA now. It has solved so many cold cases. It happened because one of Iran's murder victims' brother was a lawyer and thought this will get the killer if we expand the DNA database.
Right.
And so it's like this bittersweet part of the story that is going to be in my book about the very law that has solved all these other cases hasn't solved this one.
Hasn't solved that case, but it solved a lot of cases.
It has solved a lot of cases.
And a lot of people I swear to God, every time I go to Arkansas, I'm like, oh, these people are hiding from something.
Oh, you think
And
so?
Yeah, I think that they are off the grid. They are genuinely.
That's interesting because a woman keeps calling me from Arkansas who is convinced her handyman is Iran's.
Okay.
And I try to take them all seriously because you
Sure,
never know.
Right. It could be.
He drove up in a van mysteriously several years ago saying he was from California.
Okay.
She knows he did time for B&E's, breaking and entering.
Right.
And now he's handy and he scares her.
And he scares her.
So I looked him up, but I don't think it's him.
It's, well,
But it's in Arkansas.
Okay, yeah, my father-in-law's from the Hot Springs area, like out in the woods.
Wait, is that where there's a college? No, where is there a college?
Probably Little Rock.
No. Is it Greenwood, maybe, or something like
Probably.
that?
I mean, remember, Arkansas is mostly national forest.
Oh, okay.
And then Hot Springs is where gangsters used to vacation.
Oh, is it
Bugsy
near the
Siegel.
water?
No, there are hot springs. So, there's a row of hot springs.
Very quick.
And a lot of crystals. So there's a bunch of rainbow crystal clutchers who hang out there. And
those aren't my people.
no, I don't think so.
Let's get that out there
You're
now.
a little more pragmatic, a little more didactic. You're like, I need some facts. I'm
I've
happy
been known to turn down dinner invitation to Venice because I'm like, dirty hippies. I just can't.
I have a friend who gives you free Reiki and a tarot reading. Anything?
No.
You're like,
no. Oh, God. Ugh.
oh, that's
I can't
hilarious.
deal. I had no idea. There are these little pockets across America of those, like, apparently Athens, Ohio is like that too.
Ohio.
Yes. It's like all these like retired hippies or retired is being kind because I'm sure they never
just
really were
unemployed.
working hippies.
Oh, I'm doing a long, awesome bit that needs to be shorter and tighter about how Los Angeles is the only place in the world that is still creating industries and careers and jobs out of nothing. When I travel and I see a yoga studio, I say you're welcome because we made that up. Because that isn't real.
Right.
Pilates isn't, we made it up.
Right.
Valet parking, not real.
Yes. And
they
everywhere
spread
now.
across the earth like a locust, and there are jobs now everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're not good jobs.
No.
But they are jobs where you don't have to go to an office.
That's true.
So you get to stay outside, see the sun a little bit.
Right.
There's
I never thought of it that way.
So there's pockets of hippies. I'm Minneapolis, so it's there's a lot of, hey, let's play a game. I name a major metropolitan area and you name a murderer.
you know I love that game.
Okay, does Minneapolis have any?
Well, let me think. Now that Minnesota has a couple of Jacob Wetterling that was St. Cloud.
Okay.
He is a missing boy, and that's a very sad case.
Oh, right.
And a very weird one. That was outside Minneapolis, but I actually can't. Oh, well.
Minnesota's fun.
I mean, yeah, okay. Because I was going to say there's like a couple of ones that no one would know about that are in my head because I went to grad school in the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
So I lived in Minneapolis for 3 years, and I, of course,
you were on board.
Yeah, I was on board with
who are the two? Who are the
two
Minnesota murders that you can think of?
Oh, well,
there's Jacob.
Who's
a missing boy.
Is a missing boy, and then there is there is kind of a famous one that has to. Oh God, I'm blanking. See, this is where.
Yeah. Should I Google it?
No. It's right. Anne. Anne was her name, and her husband Dunlop. Anne Dunlop.
All right.
The murder of Anne Dunlop by her husband. Ooh, see, now I'm getting in trouble.
Right, because we don't know. Do we know?
We know. But but Brad's new wife in Arizona should know, but probably doesn't.
Her husband probably killed her, and he is remarried and living in Arizona.
Yes,
because that's where everyone goes. But last year again, they did not legalize apartheid. Always proud of them. Every year that they don't legalize apartheid, I think to myself, another triumph for liberals.
Oh, God.
Anyway, but so how about Arizona? Are there killers in Arizona?
Arizona. Lots of weirdos in Arizona. Let me think. Where are the towns in Arizona?
There's Phoenix. There's Tucson.
Tucson had the weird Pied Piper. He was called the Pied Piper, and he wore eyeliner, and
he killed people?
Yes. And I have a book on my bookshelf about him, and I'm blanking on his name exactly.
The Pied Piper. They caught him though, huh?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes. And I believe that there's a cold case. It's either New Mexico or Arizona that's really kind of crazy where they found like almost, I want to say, like a dozen remains out in the desert, and they've never been able to figure out who it was. It was obviously a dumping ground. They were all women. They were all girls, and they have never been able to figure that out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. How about other countries? Mexico? Is there any?
Mexico's lousy with murder. I mean, unfortunately, you know,
right?
That. But
because of the drug, there's
and
the border.
and then the girls and
how about Cuba? I'm reading a book called Havana Nocturne, which is a history of the mob in Cuba. I'm reading it very slowly because it's depressing. Because the mob keeps making bad life choices, and I keep saying,
"Is it mob history?
Yeah.
Like back in his? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's 1950s. Meyer Lansky and Bugsy Siegel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Oh, I didn't realize they had a history there.
Oh my God. It's Meyer Lansky very angry about that he was not considered Rockefeller or Carnegie. But that's because they started libraries and foundations. He started Vegas.
Yeah.
So you are not going to be respected.
Are you a fan of Vegas as a comic?
I am not. I am not. I don't.
You don't like
strip joints or gambling,
fake air, or a lot of
booze.
noise, or low functioning people losing
day
their
and
money.
a half.
You don't like toddlers and hot cars.
I like a couple, an older couple in matching sweatsuits, throwing away their money one nickel at a time. That always cheers me up.
With a glove, with the gloves, with the I do have a weakness for the blackjack.
Oh, I love blackjack, but when you play Vegas, when you do stand up in Vegas, you're there 7 days, and there's 2
Is that
shows a
right?
night. Yeah,
Oh
you're
my
there Monday to
God.
Monday, which is way too long.
Where'd you stay?
Usually at the Riviera or the I think I stayed.
Is there like one club that all the
there's
comics do?
a bunch of them.
Okay.
The Improv, I used to do the Improv, which was somewhere, whatever. They're all there. I stayed in the one that has the jousting, the Excalibur.
Oh, yes,
the
Excalibur.
And I got to go to the jousting thing and see it, and it was really fun.
Your face is telling me that before you finished the sentence, and I thought, I bet you like the jousting.
I enjoyed it because it was all choreography, because there was a soundtrack above. So when they fought, they had to make sure their swords clanked when the clank sounded. So it was like,
Wow.
it was like ballet, and they're
Yeah.
on these horses, and then
You know what was not ballet?
What?
Is I was dragged to Comic-Con by my husband and turned a corner and saw what I'm imagining was spontaneous jousting. And that was when I said, "No, I'm going to go back to the hotel."
This is a fun thing for you, honey.
This is very awkward looking, and I'm not into it. But
Well, it's, I think, I can't do Comic-Con, too crowded. But I do like a smaller con.
Yeah.
But it is, because I've been doing more stand-up at smaller cons and live Dork Forest and stuff. So I went to this anime con in,
oh boy.
all anime dressed up people, and it was really fun. But, in Dallas last year.
Oh, gosh.
And Andy came with me, and he spent he was like, he never comes with me to any shows. He's like, I mean, he does, but
Right.
but
he was like, I have to see this.
oh, I'll be going to that.
Did they do it? Did the anime people, I think of Dallas as just doing everything like over the top.
Big.
So did they do it in a Dallas way?
They didn't.
Okay.
They did it in an anime way.
Right.
But it was super fun. And there's a big slogan now on conventions. Costuming is not consent. Just because she's dressed like a sexy Princess Leia doesn't mean you get to grab her boob, dirtbag.
Right.
And,
Costuming is not consent.
Costuming is not consent. Catchy.
Right.
And, but Andy spent the entire weekend cause he's a game designer, right?
Oh, okay.
So he spent the entire weekend in the game hall. There was there was a hall where people had invented games and they were playing games. And then there was a game hall where people just brought games. Oh my God. And they're like, we're going to sit around and play a little Pandemic.
Was
And you're
it like food and time fell away? Like where he was lost for like 2 hours or 2 days?
Right.
Like,
I found him at like 4:00 and I said, hey, did you eat lunch? Cause I'm a fixer.
Right.
And he's like, no. And I said, and I just handed him like a weird bar. And he said, oh, this is the best.
Right.
Nom nom.
because he was that like into the games. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Cause he
Wow.
doesn't, he gets lost and he's, we're
That's-
playing Dungeons and Dragons this weekend. And he's like, I've had to, Cause I'm a dork chameleon. I'll do
Yeah.
whatever you want to do. You want to talk about true crime? We'll do it.
Right.
If you want to talk about D&D or superheroes, I'm on board.
Right.
I'll do whatever you want.
Right. Did you play when you were growing up?
No. He was the first one and it's very much like when he turned me on to comic books.
Yeah.
It was very much what about this one? Maybe, what about this book? What about this book? So Patton, I'm sure, has tried.
Oh, just the other day, I'm just thinking he goes, too bad you don't like comic books, and waved in front of my face. It was like an anthology of Victorian murder. And I was like, no, I just don't like how the story's told. I can't follow it.
Okay. Well, the thing is, you might like Rachel Rising.
No, I know. They're all very artistic and good people. I just, I can't. It's honestly just something about the format of it.
Oh,
my eye doesn't.
It doesn't play right.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, it's hard. I can't read short stories. I can read fiction. I can read novels, but I can't read short stories. Yeah. And I don't read a lot of nonfiction because I get sad for people.
It's too real. It's too real.
Way too real. What I would like is people making good life decisions, and that always occurs in fiction.
Do you read a lot of self-help books then?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I've read some.
Right.
Have you ever read Louise Hay?
No.
You Can Cure Your Life, I think it is what it's called. And it's all about affirmations. And my favorite affirmation is the affirmation you're supposed to say if you're in a coma.
What? Oh.
I don't know how you're supposed to
get me out of here.
I accept life. I celebrate life. And you're like, am I chanting that at a person in a coma? Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Because it didn't make any sense.
Oh my God.
Because you're supposed to be doing and it's a great book, but I can't, cause I hang out with Bamford all the time, Maria Bamford.
Yeah.
And she loves a self-help book.
Yeah.
There's a self-help book for everything you want to help yourself do. And I can't, but
right.
I'm not against it, but.
Right. I have a sister who's super into self-help books, and her life is already she just was recommending another one to me, and I'm like, you're already firing in all cylinders, man. You've taken you already have everything's going kick-ass for you. So how could it get any better, honestly?
Right.
But then I realized it's because she's trying to tell everyone around her that it's called the mindset. It's something about mindset book, and you're either in I'm forgetting, but it's either failure mindset or growth.
Oh.
You're either growth or whatever. And so I realize she's just using that to tell her kids that they're in a failure mindset when they're not doing something she wants them to do. But anyway.
Maria's sister became a life coach a couple of years ago.
Oh my
and
gosh.
She was Maria just spends her whole time just giving her scenarios. Okay, fix this.
Right.
Fix this.
Does she try to life coach Maria sometimes?
All the time. She tries to, but the thing about life, when you go into life coaching, I'm pretty sure you're a bossy Magoo.
I'm sorry. I just thought you were going to say something like, I'm pretty sure other coaching has not worked out for you.
It's, when I think about life coaches, I'm like, it's people who've lived their dreams to whatever degree of success and are now to whatever degree of success.
Right. To their definition.
Right. Well, as much as they can do. And now they would like to encourage you to live your dreams.
Right.
This is another made up Los Angeles job.
It's a made up Los Angeles job.
Right. There's organizers.
We should be so lucky that we have life coaches.
Right. And it used to be your mom. And now it's someone you pay $45 an hour to tell you to get your shit together.
Is that the going rate? Wow.
I think so. I
know people who just swear, they don't make a move without these life coaches.
Yeah.
To me, that suggests a little,
Feng shui.
Yeah. Squeaky Fromm didn't make a move until Charlie told her either, is what I'm trying to say.
That guy was a life coach as well.
He was.
He was a bit
and
of
then he was a death coach.
Right. I think about, what about the sneakers guy? The guys who everybody put on sneakers and then killed themselves?
What?
Remember that? The Nikes? Everybody had new Nikes and they had to wear new Nikes to get on the comet.
Oh, you're talking about Marshall Apple. You're talking about Heaven's Gate?
I am. Yeah, that's it.
Marshall Applewhite.
Applewhite.
Yeah. Look it up. I bet. I think that's actually true. It's good that that's his name. Oh yeah, and they called themselves Pope or Bo and Peep or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And they were the purple Nike outfits and they were going to go.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Is there, I always
think. And they just went to.
Are there killers in Michigan? I always think Michigan is good. No?
Michigan, are we talking about Detroit is obviously.
That's full of murder.
Right. But no, is Michigan,
creepy.
There are, I grew up part of the summer. I would spend every summer in southwestern Michigan. So I'm very fond of Michigan.
Okay. Yeah. Michigan's beautiful.
It's very beautiful. And there aren't actually, there's some that I could think of. There's a weird case in Niles, Michigan, that
tiny town. You know the name of.
I know. Yeah, it's always that fine line of how weird do I get? How specific? Like,
please go.
Well, no, but it was just like I was in a meeting where someone was talking about that it was with investigators, and they were just trying to think of why this criminal would be saying something at a certain time, and it was like in 1977, and they were like, "Well, was that around the time Son of Sam was in the papers?" And I was like,
is it?
Well, I was like, May 97. Yeah, like, of course I had to break in and be like, I didn't want to appear too much of a crazy person, but I was like, in fact, I know exactly when that was.
Yes, it was 7:49 a.m. when it was first called in.
But, yeah, Niles, Michigan. Yeah, there's a couple, Michigan's an interesting state.
Right. What does California have the most? Because we have the most people.
Yes. And I would know, the Northwest might have even more. There's historically always been a ton of crazy crimes up there. Weather, lumber industry.
Right.
I don't know.
The rain.
I don't know what to blame it on.
Washington and Oregon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are just like, it's crazy. Yeah. And I've told you my theory that like the 70s was the worst decade of all time for murder. I mean, I was asking this one investigator about a freeway killer, and this is in Southern California, a freeway killer in the 70s. And they were like, well, which one? There were 3 working at the same time. And that was just, I encountered that constantly. There was, and I just talked to a DNA person who said all our cold cases are basically from like 77 to 82. It was everyone. It was a post-Vietnam thing maybe? I don't know. But it was a dark, dark time.
Can I blame it on Reagan?
Oh, sure.
I want to.
Well, he definitely did he let a lot of mentally ill people go on
right.
the street.
He cut the funding for the mentally ill, didn't he?
Right. Yeah. So that might have been part of it. But I think it was just a grim time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gas was going up. It was over $1 a gallon. And
get your gun.
Right. What would you say to someone if I have a serial killer listening, and if I do, for the love of God, please get some help. What would you say?
One who has not acted yet, or one who's out there. Okay. Well, I mean,
if you're thinking of becoming a serial killer,
well, there's just, what bothers me, honestly, the cases that break my heart are, I believe a lot of those, like, the serial killers are like, I think there's probably something organically wrong with their brains, combined with terrible childhoods. And I think those people who plan out murders like that, they were torturing kittens. They were horrible from probably kind of day one. And I'm not sure there's all that much we can do about it. What really bothers me are these stories that break my heart about these people just, killing kids in schools or workplace stuff. That to me, it's like, get help.
Yeah.
Just see someone. And you never ever see a killer described as, oh, you know what? He had a big support system. He had a lot of friends.
Right.
Honestly, it's really the one thing that comes up again and again is isolation. And I think about the times in my life when I was really isolated, and there certainly were times.
Yeah.
I lived in Los Angeles in a my bedroom was painted dark blue.
Wow.
And I had red velvet drapes, and I rarely left my bedroom for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't have access to a weapon, is all I'm saying. I mean, I was in a bad state of mind.
Right. But I think you're right. I mean, I think if you had a terrible childhood and things or you had a bad war.
Right.
And, cause there's a lot of people who were in the war and the different wars, and they just.
But people also don't realize that there are support systems. Like, people think, there's free counseling places, and there are, places that will work with you.
Because you could just walk into and you're like, I just need to talk to somebody. And they'll be like, we will get you someone to talk to right now.
Right.
You can call them, you can walk in, and it's not, nobody's surprised to see you because that's what they do for a living, right? I mean, hundreds of people walk in every day. Be one of them, right?
Right.
Just be one of them. It's not that hard. And
I would also say to a serial killer, partner up. Go on Match.com because I think of the Green River Killer killed 48 women, I believe, in 2 years. Mm-hmm. He stopped. They asked him why. I got married.
Okay.
So that tells me,
find a lady, find a fella.
Just life circumstances can change.
Yeah.
Mix it up. Become that guy, the guy with the white picket fence and the wife and maybe the,
Yeah.
And
if your job is horrible, quit.
Right.
Yeah. There will be another job. Even if it's a shitty job, there will be another job.
Right.
But because you genuinely have to take care of yourself. And if the way that you're doing that is doing something horrible, talk to somebody and stop doing it.
Right.
I mean, figure out a way that you can just talk to somebody. And if your parents aren't supportive or if your siblings aren't supportive, don't talk to them. Find someone who will be, at the very least, can hear you out. You know?
And there's I mean, I just think of so many, I know people have different theories about medication and stuff like that, but I know so many friends who've suffered from anxiety disorders and depression who just, their lives have just been restarted by taking something that was meant, and whatever. Maybe it was a placebo effect, who knows? But I know that they're different people now and they're in a much better place.
Right. And I mean, we live in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, there's a lot of free time. A lot of free time here. And
there's a lot of antidepressants in the water system is what you're trying to, we're peeing out a lot of Wellbutrin. That's what you're trying to say.
I think that people, I think that,
do you think free time leads to depression?
Creates anxiety and depression. Yeah. And as my father used to say when I was a child, you know what dictatorships do? They keep people busy.
Ooh, I like that.
You're like, but I'm still not going to support that, Dad. And he was like, you want to call it Nicaragua? And I was like, you're charming. And so
I like the busy part. I don't like the dictator part, but
right. No, but he was always a big, poor people are lazy. And my father's a button pusher, and he's like, you got to learn how to argue, right? Mm-hmm. And then he says something just random and sweeping, right? And then you are defending something that you're like, you don't even believe this.
Right.
And he hasn't voted since 1972. My father, he voted for McGovern. And I asked him one time, why didn't you vote, Dad? Why don't you vote? And he goes, because nobody's on my side. And then I have a Lord of the Rings joke that you won't get, which is, that I think my father's an Ent. Anyway, it has been an hour. You are so great.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much for coming out.
I was afraid we would have nothing to talk about, but
as always,
it's an embarrassment of riches.
Follow me on Twitter. Follow Michelle on Twitter.
Yes.
True Crime Diary.
And see if Jackie is now following Michelle on Twitter. Yes. Because if she's not.
Right. Everyone should tweet at me. Hey, are you following Michelle McNamara? You really should. She's really interesting. And thank you so much for coming on the Dork Forest.
Thank you, Jackie.
Bye. Take care of each other out there. Bye. Well, that show was awesome. Let's do the credits. Patrick Brady, he fixes the audio every week. He also does the teaser videos on YouTube. So Patrick Brady is an awesome guy, and I thank him for his work. Mike Rickberg sang the song you heard at the beginning, composed and sang it with his girlfriend Sarah. He's going to sing in about a heartbeat for the Mexican Hat Dance. And Vilmos fixes my website, JackieCation.com. So support him and his work. Thanks a lot, you guys. Take care out there. Bye.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?